good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see. We've not met this year.
We've not met this year.
There's no crime to say happy New Year.
It is still too early.
It's still too early, right?
And we thank God for the new year.
Absolutely.
Since I was born, I think I've started seeing very different changes in weather. January with rains.
January. Yeah.
So it's really wet mornings in January, and we thank God.
Yeah, somebody was asking, January should tell us whether we go to July or we remain in January.
Yeah, actually, a friend said yesterday, I found a joke that July has moved to January.
And January has gone
so January might be going into July.
Yes.
I don't want to be in July if January will go into July.
We'll have to be here. We'll have to be here.
Yeah.
David Alulu is a political analyst and a consultant, at the same time economic analyst, I beg your pardon. I'm joined by Gabriella, Lorere, who is a youth leader, UPIA party. There you have it. There you have it. I have to confess that you look good. Gabriella, good morning.
Thank you. Morning.
My director says that Oloo, that crown, is it a crown in Masai? How do you call it?
Ngishili.
Sasa Ongere, you got it right. That's not a crown. That's not a crown.
It's
good
a
morning,
crown.
Gabriella.
I wanted to hear you say that name. She said it.
What did you say?
Ngishili.
Gishiri?
Yeah.
Yes. Gishiri means what?
Gishili.
It means this shanga.
That's Shanga.
Yeah.
So
The crown itself.
crown quote and quote. Ongere said that is a crown. Okay, welcome to the program.
Thank you.
They say if the crown fits, wear it. Karibu
Thank
sana.
you.
All right, we'll be taking a look at what is really happening. I'm still waiting for Wakili Mwathi, who will be joining me shortly, and Ireri, Mwathi, who will be also joining me very shortly. But let me start with the front page of our local dailies. Let me start with the Daily Nation. You have that paper there, but let me just bring it here. Daily Nation, there you have it on the front page of the Daily Nation. This is what it looks like. The front page, schools taken to court over debts. This is what we have on the front page of the Daily Nation. Schools taken to court over debts. It says that suppliers in Ireri have filed over 10 cases against schools at small claims court. This is what we have. And again, it's just a week after schools reopened. Suppliers have dragged institutions that owe them money to courts, even as principals ask the government to release and remitted billions of shillings under the free day secondary education. This is it. This week is back to school week, and there is a breakdown of the capitation to schools in between 2018 and 2023. Again, a breakdown. I wish I could go through these figures, but you can take a look at your local dailies and see what's there. In 2020, 2028, 2029, the approved budget was 59 billion shillings, and learners were getting 142, not funded, that is 142,000, etc., etc. So you have to take a look. And that is 2018, 2019, 59 billion. 2019, 2020, 59 again billion. 2020, 2021, 59 billion. In 2021, 2022, the approved budget was at 62 billion shillings, and 2022, 2023 stands at 64 billion shillings. So this is what it is. This is what we have to take a look at. Alulu, what do you make of this? Schools taken to court over debts. The issue of capitation is still here with us. What do you make of this headline?
I think it is a shame that at this particular time we would have such a cases of schools being taken to court, because the government should do much better. I once said it is very important and necessary for the government to invest and to take education seriously, because education is the backbone of any economy, any country. So I think the government and by extension through the Ministry of Education should up their game. One, to try and we thank them for releasing the capitation for this year earlier. But this is just a drop in the ocean, because you realize that many schools, especially last year, had problems getting the money, and what schools get is really so minimum. I actually feel for the principals and the school heads, because they have to use the minimum they get to facilitate the schools, and this will always land us in trouble. So I think going forward, the government should try and up their game to ensure that one, they increase the capitation, and then release it on time so that we don't find ourselves in situations where instead of principals concentrating on education, they start thinking of the creditors, which becomes now bad news, according to my own thinking.
Yeah. All right. Gabriella? Front page.
I think the government should up their game.
Yeah.
Because you see, education should be a priority in Kenya. His Excellency William Ruto should stop concentrating with other things and put basic need as the priority. I think the government is failing Kenya. Yeah.
Yeah. Because at the end of the day, schools are now demanding a capitation. Even as from once are reporting this week, we are still going to take a look at that. In the political scene, Raila asked churches to keep state in check. The church needs to speak out against the least ills and this government, including the heavy taxation it has burdened Kenyans with, says Azimio leader Raila Odinga. That story is fleshed out there for you on page 4 of the Daily Nation. We'll take a look at that later on. How about we go to the front page of the People Daily? There you have it. Again, matters education. Books crisis after subject change. Book crisis after subject change. There we have it. The story is there on page, on the front page. Reduction of number of subjects and lessons in primary and junior secondary schools have now leaves confusion among learners and teachers, with latter being forced to teach subjects they never studied. Teachers are now forced to teach lessons that they never studied. Here we have it. Again, matters to do with education. We've just touched on that. But very quickly, something that we are going to discuss related to that. Gachagua now goes for top judge. Gachagua now goes for top judge. Deputy President declares that he will petition for the removal of a justice who froze his accounts in unprecedented escalation of war with the judiciary. This is where we have it. That story continues on page 3. Let me go there on page 3 and see. There we have it. Gachagua trains guns on Judge Esther Maina. Deputy President, yesterday Gachagua said that he will present a petition to the Judicial Service Commission for the removal of Justice Esther Maina of the Anti-Corruption Court over alleged misconduct and corruption. Speaking in Elgeyo Marakwet on Sunday, Gachagua said that he will adhere to Justice Martha Koome's advice and seek the removal of Justice Maina. So, according to Gachagua, the MP for Madeira, the then MP for Maina, said that Justice Maina declared his fortune proceeds of crime. Okay, let me take that. Gachagua, then the MP for Madeira, said that Justice Maina declared his fortune proceeds of crime without giving him a hearing as dictated by the rule of law. And let me quote, the ruling by the judge was meant to taint image. It was a political decision whereby the judge was working under the instructions of those in power then, and continues on and on and on and on and on. So on Thursday, this coming Thursday week at 2:15 p.m., according to the DP, I will personally present a petition before Lady Justice Martha Koome against Justice Esther Maina for her removal from the judiciary for misconduct and corruption. End of statement. This is going to be forming part of our discussion today. All right. So, yeah, there we have it. Anti-fraud agency wants officer sacked for forgery. Kimemana watu. Kimemana. It's not easy. Ireri, Mwathi. Good morning.
Morning.
Front page of the People Daily. Good to see you.
Good to see you too.
Go ahead. What do you make of this crisis? Book crisis after subject change. Good morning once again.
Thank you. I think it's true that after the new curriculum, there has been a problem.
Yes.
We know even other than the books, last year we had our grade 7 which didn't have enough teachers. There should be books in schools to assist the teachers, the students. Without those books, we expect half-baked pupils to transit to their next levels. So I think it's an issue that the government should address urgently, actually, because we can't joke with the education. Yeah.
All right, very well. What about the front page of the Standard newspaper? Where is that Standard? Okay, here we have it. All right. Yeah. So on the front page of the Standard newspaper, pressure mounts as schools admit 1.4 million shillings, 1.4 million from ones. That is on the front page. Pressure mounts as schools admit 1.4 million from ones. Again, matters education. Whereas parents are protesting the high cost of taking their children to secondary schools, teachers are burning their midnight oil, wondering how they will accommodate the learners in institutions whose facilities are already bursting at the seams and with little funding. Again, education, education, education. Almost all the papers are talking about education today. We've talked about that. Raila rails at church leaders for going to bed with government. Again, that's what he has. We all know this. David, did you carry this metal box to high school, or you are the rich kid who?
No, I went to a day school, so I didn't buy
a suitcase in.
I didn't carry that. I know Lorere did, but I didn't.
You did.
No, I went to a day school. I went to a day school.
Oh, so you don't have an experience?
So I don't have experience with
There's something called a butterfly. There's something called a butterfly. When you go to high school and then you have something valuable in this box, one of these corners would be flanked open. That's called a butterfly. So one of the terrorists would just fix his hand inside there and grab whatever he wants. So it's called a butterfly.
Did you say terrorist?
Yes, we call it terrorists in high school. Okay. Yes, we all have experience. Ireri, what thing you have an experience with this metal box?
Oh, yes, yes.
And they are so noisy.
The worst was the one which had a padlock at the middle.
Right, yes.
One actually. I think that's why they came up with the two.
With the two?
Because what you are saying is they would...
So that you can...
this side and the other side.
Stop terrorists from butterfly
took
here.
advantage of the one at the center.
Yeah.
Okay. It was so easy to open. You just press here in the middle and then you lift this other side. You take the sugar and for Gabriella, lotions would go, etc. You'd imagine that. You haven't experienced this metal box as well?
Yeah.
Okay. So it's about matters going back to school. I don't know how it's going to be moving forward. For parents, the issue of capitation is still here with us. Let me start with you, David. What do you make of from once now? 1.4 million, change of curriculum, teachers now saying that they are not, some of them are not teaching subject they didn't learn.
Yeah, again, I would say it like I did before. It is unfortunate that the government seems not to be very clear on how to address the matters education, because one, we have the publishers who had published books for the ordinary subjects that are used to, and then the change of curriculum confuses everybody and things start working in a different way. So I think when we are going to find ourselves in such a situation like this, there should be a prior conversation and then prepare people at least a year before we get to the implementation of a new strategy or plan or even curriculum. So I feel the government has disappointed to some extent when it comes to the reality of making sure you put the learners into consideration. Because after all, you have to know that the major stakeholder in this is a learner. And when you destabilize their mind at the start of it, then you are confusing the whole process. But equally, I think we should also move as a country, and especially now the publishers, we should move from a situation where we want to live in the old days. We should be current, in the current sphere. We should work into the present, knowing that things keep on changing. With the current technology and everything that is moving on, you would wake up tomorrow and realize that things have totally changed and things are working in a different way. So much as we want government to put things in order and work, have a prior communication to alert and prepare everybody, but then especially the publishers should always have their hands on deck to make sure that things are working.
Yeah.
But issue of capitation, I think this is what hurts the most, because now the schools are going to bring in, is it 1.4 million Form 1 learners.
Yes.
And you realize that without better capitation, we are now going to have meetings with schools who are going to tell us you have to, apart from the school fees, parents now have to bring in more money to build dormitories, to build dining halls, and so many other things. So you realize, apart from the school fees that parents are going to pay, there is also other bills that are going to come up, because schools are now struggling in between to try and meet the needs and still survive. Now, meeting the needs, you realize that much as the government has given the capitation, it is not enough. And so the schools must keep on moving. I am a parent, and I sometimes back I had a conversation with a teacher who told me, much as we would want to keep all the children in school, but we have majority of them who haven't paid, and we have to sustain them in school. They need food, they need everything that any child would want. So at this particular point, I think the government should come up with a clear policy on how to support schools, especially when the transition comes and we have the taking in of the new learners, like now the Form 1s. We should have a better plan, knowing that when these children come into school, the government has facilitated their intake, so that schools will not struggle so much, and we don't find ourselves in a situation where parents have to pay an extra for this survival of children in schools. My thinking.
Gabriella, it's all about parents right now and government. It's now head to head. They have no option. They have to go to school either way. But then now, we would imagine parents are going to feel the weight rather, because we don't have the capitation from government yet. It's not probably reflecting in schools' accounts. So parents are facing the wrath right now.
I think first, the government is failing Kenyan, because when you fail to plan well, you are preparing to fail.
Yes.
Because first, there is no money. No money circulating. The parents are getting it hard. They have changed book. You have to buy a new book. You have to take your children to school. You have to eat. Now tell me, if the KK government should plan it well, I think the government can start focusing more on education and stop taking things lightly.
Yes.
And the Ministry of Education should now have a clear plan on what they want to achieve at the end of the day. Because pressuring parents financially to end up diluting the value of education.
Exactly.
Because if you, I'm speaking about, imagine a student in Baragoi who cannot access good education at high mark and cannot go to good school, end up going to a day school. Tell me, the value of education is being diluted because of poor planning from the government side. KK government should up their game.
As a teacher, you have education background. You'd imagine the kind of pressure even universities and tertiary education, it's now going to face the TVETs across the country. Just the other day, KC's results were released, and now a majority of students did not get the university cutoff point. Again, parents to school, 1.4 million. Teachers are saying that some of them do not have even the requisite, qualification. They don't have books. They don't have enough infrastructure. But either way, we have to go to school. Ireri.
Yeah, actually that is true. The education system, just from the ECD all the way to the university, they are actually overstressed in a manner that, like in secondary schools where we have 100% transition, and remember there's a crisis because we don't have any class 8 behind. So those who are going to Form 1s now, we do not, even the issue of repeating and all that, it's not there now in class 8. So at least everybody has to go to there, up to high school. What does this mean? So many people so many students scrabbling for limited space in Form 1. And the infrastructure is still the same. Teachers are still the same. Look at it, even this capitation we are seeing is not actually enough. When was it last reviewed? It was reviewed many years ago. What we were getting some years ago, after the inflation, after the cost of living has gone up, is still what is being pegged per student. So you find, even if it's there, it's not even enough. This means the board of management, the teachers, the principals will be struggling all through. That means students may not get maximum of what they are supposed to get. What does this mean? There are people or there are students who will get grades which they were not meant to, because they have not given. The education system should be able to provide each and every student to achieve the full potential of what he is supposed to. We are not saying every student should get an A or a B, but if you are an A material, you should be able to have a good learning environment in the institution so that you come out of that school with that A. If you are C material, you should be able to get good learning environment to come out of that institution with that C that you are you are capable of getting. But when there is no the money is not coming in time, when there is strain in the infrastructure, we know of schools who are even making makeshift classes. We know of schools which are converting halls into dormitories. I'm a chair of a certain school somewhere, and I can tell you the kind of struggle my principal and my board is going through is hectic. So it's the high time we get out of these problems, especially now there's also a change of the curricula. We should, the government should focus or lay focus in this area so that we don't waste individuals who are supposed to be building our nation in a few years time.
Yes.
Yeah.
All right. Guys, April says that the price of fuel is down. Are we happy now? Makofi?
Yes,
Alulu?
Makofi. Echo to the government.
Yes.
I think the government is doing it well. And I know Lorere will have issues with that.
Yes. let me just give a full page of that. That is April. That's a notice. It took effect last night, midnight. So this is the monthly review of the price of that precious commodity, fuel. So maximum retail price in Nairobi is going to super petrol is going to go for 207.36. That is 207 shillings and 36 cents. Diesel 196 and 47 cents, and kerosene is going to be 194 shillings and 23 cents. Mombasa, they're getting it the easiest, the cheapest, 204 shillings and 30 cents. That. No wonder we have this in Nairobi today. Could it be that's why we have a lot of traffic in the CBD? I think so. Look at the traffic in Nairobi today. It's that bad. You guys take a look. It's already almost 8 and we have this. Most major roads are all red. It's never been, it used to be like this. So Jogo Road, Thika Road, unaona imeenda mpaka huko Ireri.
Yeah.
Do we have traffic in the other side of the country? I don't know. Because of that effect of petrol. So month review of the fuel. Alulu, you must be happy about this.
Yes, I am. You know,
why?
For the longest time, most of us had packed our cars. The fuel was really hitting us hard. And I can tell you, many Kenyans are smiling, and I'm happy, like I was saying. I'm happy that the government kept to its promise. It said they are going to make sure this comes below 200.
Yes.
And I think we are doing well. Last month, we had a drop. this month there is. I'm optimistic there will be another drop until we get below 200, because you see the price of fuel affects almost everything. And you know, I went somewhere to buy some groceries, and somebody told me mafuta imepanda. So I asked them, do you need fuel to grow groceries? And I'm like, no, this is just because we have to transport, and then you hike the price in transporting. And so I think it's a good thing. For economy to move, we depend so much on this commodity, and government doing whatever they are doing to bring a drop in the price. I think it's a plus. So, makofi kwa serikali.
Gabriella is not amused.
Yeah, she isn't.
Pigi makofi. Gabriella, what do you make of this?
I'm happy. At least for one, KK government is doing something.
Okay.
And I've seen it just for 1 month.
Okay.
I don't know what of February.
No, this is second month, Gabriella.
They have just made it for 30 days. Or am I saying my own thing? It's for 1 month only. I don't know if they will change their mind, but a good job to the government. Yeah, for one.
Victor, I was helping Gabby to understand that we had a drop last month, and there has also been this one. So there is a likelihood of the next month drop. Be optimistic. The government is working. It's really doing a good job.
At least we want to see it going to 150.
Is it Meru or Embu?
Embu.
There is, Embu. Embu is 208. 208 shillings.
Embu is not very far from Nairobi.
Yes.
The drop is welcome, but Kenyans are still not forgetting how much it had increased. So we just ask, what is causing this? Is it something sustainable? Are we going to see it going the same direction? Or it's a case of a drop and then it surges up again? So I think it's a drop, but Kenyans still want more of that, noting that fuel is a factor of production in almost every sector. Talk of agriculture, talk of manufacturing, talk of transport, everything. So in so doing, government should be very sensitive, or fuel is very sensitive to the well-being and the growth of the nation. So it is an area that we should, or the government should focus on to ensure that this drop is not just a temporary issue. To ensure that it keeps dropping, and I think it should go below 200. As per the traffic in the city today, I think it's an issue of the restoring and all that.
There we go. I mean, Alulu said, ametoa ile nini yake leo.
My friend, I'm telling you. But you see, Victor, I would love to say this. You know, Kenya is a country where we like complaining, but not appreciating the little efforts. Last month, the government issued a statement on the trajectories that contribute to the hiking and the dropping of price in this. It is not dependent on the government. It is dependent on the global market. Kenya is not oil producing. So for that reason, I would want to urge Ireri here to understand that should it happen that the price is not dropping as Kenyans would expect, we should understand that after all, Kenya is doing this following what is happening in the global markets, but give credit where it is due. Even 1 shilling, it is a plus.
Very good. Okay, guys, let's cross over now and talk about something else. Let's cross over to this is what it looks like on the front page of the BBC. Trump, Haley, and DeSantis make final pitches in frozen Iowa. The former president eyes a big victory in Monday's caucuses as he bids for a rematch with Joe Biden. There is something he said that in Iowa is freezing cold. But Trump said that even if you go and vote and then die, it's still worth it. That's what he said. It's still worth it. So this is what it is. It's election year in the US, and Trump, oops, all right, my bad. Trump and yes, there you have it. Okay, so Iowa caucuses, Republican rivals make last-ditch bids to cut Trump's lead. That is what's here on the front page of the BBC. Donald Trump and his Republican rivals are making last-ditch pitches to win support in Iowa hours before voters in these states will kick off the 2024 race for the White House. Okay, what about France 24? Again, France 24, again, something different. Post-war Gaza, the Palestinian Authority is not in a position to govern in Gaza. That is on the front page of France 24. Okay, this network is working on me today. It's behaving. Okay, so we'll continue that. We'll come back later on as talk about and when we get that. So guys, let's talk about what matters here in the country. Politics here, law there. The rage between the judiciary and the executive still rages on. So let's take a look at that. Let me start with you, Gabriella. What do you make of the deputy president's assertion that he will file a petition against a judge on Thursday to remove Justice Maina?
I think
this is relations to what has been happening between the judiciary and the executive. Where do we cut the line?
I think the KK government are doing double standard. The judiciary cannot be good during election, during the results of the election, but they are now judging the judiciary. When they win, the judiciary is respected. But now, when it's going against them, the judiciary is bad. I think the KK government should be clear and stop double standard, led by President William Ruto. You cannot attack the same judiciary that approved you won the election. But now you want to say the judiciary is being paid, is being bribed. No, Ruto should come clear and face the judiciary with clean hands and respect the law. Yeah, and Gachagua, that is too low of him. You cannot say that you're going for a judge because he was manipulated by the former government. No, that's not the way to go in this country.
Okay.
You cannot micromanage the whole judiciary to fit your own thinking. Yeah, thank you.
All right, Ireri.
Thank you. This is a very sensitive issue which actually we should look at in a broader perspective. Number one, the deputy president should not talk ill of a judge just because in respect to his own case. At worst, he would have gone for another case, because I am sure there are so many judges who have made so many rulings. But if you talk about your own case, that means it's like you are defending yourself. It's like you are being too personal. That one I don't think it's a good thing. And in any case, it would have been better if it doesn't come public. We would have seen it not from him. But worst of all, Kenya has three arms of government: the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature. Are these institutions, or do they have corruptions in them? The big answer is yes. Is going public in public meetings, public rallies, the best way of solving this? The answer is no. Why? It will bring both local and international outcomes, which may not be palatable or good for our country. Look at when the president himself informs the whole world that our judiciary is corrupt. What does that mean? Or our judiciary, we cannot trust our judiciary. What does that mean? Anybody in the countries where the executive has gone loud, wooing people to come and invest here, what do investors expect from day one once they land? Even before they land, before they even leave their own countries, what do they start with? They start with contracts. We have an agreement, we have a contract that we have made with Kenya, with this and this institution, or with this and this organization in Kenya. When now this international community sees that the Kenyan judiciary is corrupt, it would mean that these people do not trust the judicial system in Kenya. So they will find it that in case of anything, they will not have anywhere to run to. So this can water all what the gains that maybe the president or the executive has done trying to bring people here. Number two, even still in the international world, judiciary, there's so much that comes into it through the international community in terms of donations, in terms of grants, in terms of loans. Why now the very person who is the custodian of the instruments of power is the one saying that our judiciary is corrupt? What does that mean? That means there's somebody who was willing to fund judiciary in one way or another, but you say, hey, just hold. These people are not good. So it is not creating good image of us in the international community, especially when it comes from the number one in the republic. I think, but we are not saying the judiciary is not corrupt. That's a story of another day. But what we are saying is, we have better ways of solving this. I'm sure the president of the country can call the president of the judiciary, or anybody in the judiciary can call him within minutes. They are there, and then discuss the things behind the curtains and see a way of solving these problems locally. If the president does not have the confidence in the judiciary, how about me and you, who do not have anywhere to complain? That means now we are all in fear that the judiciary that we trust as a problem. I'm sure there's a better way of solving problems in the judiciary if there are problems there.
But you say where there is smoke, there is fire.
Nobody is saying that there is no corruption in judiciary, just as there is a corruption in the executive. There is also corruption in the executive. Because the executive starts with the president, the deputy, the cabinet secretaries, all through to the cleaner who cleans in an office, in a ministry office somewhere. That system, there must be some rotten potatoes somewhere. There is a good way of removing them, not going on top. Because going to the public rallies and speaking of corrupt judiciary would mean you are solving this problem in a political way, which is not the case, which should not be the case. What are the repercussions of this? Locally here, we have seen lawyers going on strike. Who suffers when there are analysts in the country? Number one, the person who suffers being the worst is the government of the day. Because the government of the day should provide good environment for operation. When there is unrest in a certain street in the republic, there are people who will not open their shops there. There will be traffic jam. There is somebody who will be stuck in the jam, who should be working and building the nation in a better way. There will be the focus of lawyers in Kenya are striking as a result of the speech of the president. This will go international. So there are so many problems in this kind of judicial attacks, which I think we should get a better way of.
Gentlemen and lady, we all know what Article 159 talks about: the judiciary, independence of judiciary, and the judiciary and the executive. According to Article 159, we all know judicial authority is derived from people and vested in and shall be exercised by the courts and tribunals established by or under this constitution. David Alulu, you are aware of this?
Yes.
All right, let's take a break. When we come back, we are going to be discussing more on matters judiciary, politics here, law there. Stay with us. All right, welcome back. David Alulu says that things are going to be bananas. Okay, So on the front page of the People Daily, this is what it is, and this is what we're to be talking about in reference to judicial authority and independence. Gachagua now goes for top judge. Gachagua now goes for top judge. Deputy President declares that he will petition the removal of a justice who froze his accounts in a precedented escalation of war with the judiciary. Alulu, go ahead.
Thank you, sir. This is a good one. This is a good one. I want to disagree with Ireri on the case of DP presenting petition against the judge who participated in his case. You know, my question would be, if I can't present my own evidence, whose evidence should I present? Because the watertight evidence is the one that I am familiar with, I am fully aware. So I think it's a good move, because the judiciary, through the CJ herself, said if you have any evidence of corruption against any member of judiciary, any judge, present it. And now the DP has come out clear and said, yes, I have evidence. He went ahead and said, if there is any other Kenyan with any other different evidence, bring it on. Let's present it so that it shall be known that there is a problem in our judiciary. I don't want to agree that simply because judiciary approved the victory of President William Ruto, we should now clap for them even if they're in a mess. You know, a good brother is one who tells you you are not doing well when you are not doing well. Not just clapping for you simply because you are a brother. So I think it's about time we agree that judiciary is good, but inside judiciary we have some rogue judges and some rogue judicial officers. And this should be pulled out. And by the president coming out clear to say, I am going to fight corruption in the judiciary, I think it should be echoed by all Kenyans. Actually, international community will be celebrating right now, saying if the head of state has come out clear to state that there is a problem in the judiciary and he's doing something about it, then it is a plus for
Kenya. So who will make noise to the or against the executive?
I think everybody,
because the executive is now blaming the judiciary. So who will now champion that onslaught against the executive?
And we have had the opposition.
Because we've all agreed that
Azimia are doing a good job. I've been seeing Baba all over saying there is this rotten government and this. You see, that is why we have all this. And that's why the president said we need a very stable official opposition in this country. So that when the executive is going rogue, when corruption is at mess in this country, somebody will speak about it. And since we know very well, government cannot condemn itself when it comes to matters of corruption. We are sure Azimio will make loudest noise.
The question
but
is,
in the judiciary, since we have a problem in the judiciary, and the executive has noticed, and you see, you only get to know that it is painful when it pinches you. And the government feels the pinch because the judiciary is waking up every single day to stop the projects that are supposed to pull the agenda of the government.
Why now? Why now? That's the big question.
Why now? Because there is something that the government must achieve.
Go ahead. Why now?
You know, Ruto succeeded in silencing the parliament. The 13th parliament is very weak. They can't say anything, and they just play the government music. Ruto wants to weaken the judiciary. That's why he's coming up with so many accusations because of few things like affordable housing and many others. You know, when you want to do your own thing, you cannot go ahead and silence the whole institution. The EACC is not working totally. It's just dancing according to government tune. Now the parliament. Now Ruto wants to go again ahead to silence the judiciary. Then where is the rule of law? Where is the democracy in Kenya? If you can silence the EACC, you go ahead silence the parliament, then again the judiciary. And I think this is all about politics. Because I saw yesterday Alice Waume, the CS of water, speaking about Kalonzo is the one behind. Kalonzo and the Wamalwa is behind this demonstration of lawyers. I think this politics, KK government politics. If they can't deliver to the people, they should stop all this and weakening every institution, because they have weakened the opposition. See, they bought some MPs, the UDM.
Did they weaken the opposition? Really?
Yeah, yes, because at Nimiola Umoja, we had Jubilee. They kidnapped our people from Jubilee. They kidnapped UDM. And now, even the independent candidates, they dance according to Ruto's tune.
You just say kidnap.
Yes, they kidnapped them because, because the party leader of Jubilee is not aware. He's not aware. But all MPs, they are in KK
is aware. Sabina Chege is the party.
Sabina Chege is not the party. We all know Uhuru Kenyatta is the party leader of Jubilee.
I still want to inform my friend that the Kenyan judiciary is one of the most respected in our region. We should not pose it like a tennis ball where you spread on this side, on that side. By this I mean there was a time the executive was very comfortable when the opposition was just complaining when there were corruption cases, when they were all being thrown away.
Yes.
The opposition was saying, look at it, you are doing this because you people are in bed with the executive. And we saw all those. And even the common one, if you go on the street, you tell you, this and this case, we should have seen it to the very head. That time, the executive was okay with the judiciary. Just like my sister is saying, go back even to 2017 when the judiciary ruled against the election that time. Some celebrated, others did not. Now, this issue of the executive now saying the judiciary is corrupt, the opposition on the other side. So it is like we should ensure that judiciary is independent, and in case of anything, there is a whole Judicial Service Commission enshrined in our constitution in Article 171. There is a judicial commission to deal with such cases. What I'm saying is these issues, whether there is corruption or not, they should not be dealt with in public rallies. That is making the judicial problems political, which is not. Let us deal with the politics in political rallies.
But
Problems
Kenya
of corruption
is a political
because
country.
at the end of the day, what do you get? What do you gain once you from the political accusing it in the political rallies? That means you are informing. There is nothing that the political rallies can. There is no problem that the political rallies can solve. The problem can only be solved in a structured way, well outlined way of how a judicial problem should be.
But
the
deputy president has a case, right?
Yes. Deputy president has a case. Yes, but there are times when you know when to fight,
right,
and how to fight. Look at it this way: you are a father, because the deputy president is number 2 in the executive, and once there is an opening, you are saying, "I'm the first to bring my case." You'd have at least let the lower, if at all, it didn't go that way. Number one, it would not have been in the political rallies. We would have seen it in the papers that, or anywhere else, that the executive has instructed this and this case. There are also, it's not only personal cases, there are also state cases. Maybe you would have gone for such a case.
Yes.
And it doesn't mean his case is the very vast on top. That means you are a father, but if a chance comes, you are the first to grab that chance. That's not a good father.
Who vexed the executive? Who rattled the executive? Because this war has been going on for a very long time.
Before I answer that, I want to remind my colleagues here that just recently, Said Chitembwe, all right, was recommended to be removed because of corruption-related charges after Mike Sonko petitioned and provided evidence. I want to assure you that, I want actually to tell you, everybody, including President himself, has the right to complain against any judicial officer or any other person in this country who has corrupt-related cases on their neck. Gabi said EACC is not working, but we just saw Najib Balala in court the other day. It will tell you that EACC is really working hard to make sure the corrupt fellows are arrested. But now, who checks the government? One, I don't want to agree with Gabi that all the opposition MPs have been taken.
Not all.
Borrowing.
I have said Jubilee and the UDM
have been kidnapped. We still have opposition leaders who are vocal in the parliament. They are speaking vocally, and they have spoken about the ills in government. So I still believe parliament, even though minority side might not have all the numbers.
That is exactly
required.
what Gabi was talking about.
So even though they might not have the required
that is her point.
Numbers,
yes.
But you don't need to have numbers for you to speak out. You can speak out individually, and your case shall hold ground. Like Rigathi Gachagua is doing right now. He's leading the front. The CJ said, bring the evidence, and they say, here it is. Let's go. So come, baby, come. Let's take this thing on. Everybody should present their evidence, and then we shall have the commission of inquiry put in place. If judges are found to be guilty of these cases, they'll go home. If they are not, they'll be vindicated, and the country moves on.
I ask you a question. Why now? Timing.
Now, because the government has been rattled. And if the government has, I remember the saying of the former minister, late John Michuki. He said, you don't rattle a snake's tail and expect not to be beaten. If you rattle a snake's tail, it shall bite you. And at this particular time,
how was executive rattled?
It was rattled by the judiciary suspending the programs that the government wants to implement, which is
very good. Yes. Very good. So it has nothing to do with what the DP is saying here. It has nothing to do with that.
It has everything to do with that. You know, the government said, not the government said, there are corrupt officials in the judiciary who are making the government policies impossible to implement.
Okay, Gabi.
And then the CJ said,
go ahead.
Bring on the evidence. And now evidence is coming out. DP is coming out with his own evidence.
You're out of order. Gabriel, go ahead. Gabriel.
I think this is all politics. The KK government is playing politics. You see, he made the Aurora and Kimwarer case to be dropped.
Yes.
Everything that is concerning KK people.
Who made it drop?
It's your brightness. Who doesn't know?
All right, continue. Right.
Anything to do with allies of KK government, now they're at white us. But anything to do with the former government, which Ruto was the vice president, now they're being accused of being corrupt. They're being accused of everything bad on this earth. I think Ruto should start implementing his manifesto by delivering to the people and stop all this politicking. He blackmailed the people during campaigns, so he should.
I think there's something we should be very aware of.
Yes.
I'm afraid you should not put it like that the judiciary is supporting the government policies.
No.
What the judiciary said, it didn't say that the housing program was wrong. It emphasized on the procedures. And in law, I'm not a lawyer, but everything that is the government is doing should follow the due procedure. They are laid down procedures of implementing policies. So you mess up with that, then there will be, even in 2017, when the election was nullified, the judiciary did not say that this and this had more votes than the other. It said the process had been, so the same case. So the actually this should put the government on toes in ensuring that whatever process, whatever activity that they undertake has followed the due process and that has followed the law to the letter. Because they have all the machineries. They have a whole legal team to advise them, or rather to see that the process or the implementation of their policies are the due process, follow the law. You cannot, just because something is good, you can't just jump on it and implement it without first of all, looking at what does the law say about this, what is the right procedure, and above all, it may be beneficial to the public, but it has to follow the due process. So that is what actually most of these things that the judiciary is faulting the process.
Okay.
But then the executive has as a whole machinery of ensuring that they are followed. Once the process is not right, there should be an eye opener to the government. It should be putting government on toes, ensuring that whatever we do has followed there. And the president, when he was being interviewed the other day, actually it was after the ruling of the housing, he admitted that there is something that the judiciary saw was wrong, and they had to correct. They said they were only targeting the salary.
Yes.
Right? So they said they should look at it that it will capture even a wide scope to include even those who are business and others. And the president himself admitted that. And he said they were willing to go and do that. So what does it mean? It means the executive should see some positive issue in the judiciary, because it is guiding them.
Okay.
Because this thing you may do away with it today, but it may be faulted when it is at a later stage.
I have to ask you this question to all of you.
Yes.
What is the end game?
Yeah.
Starting with you, Ireri, now that your mic is on. What is the end game?
Actually, at the end of the day, the government of the day will. The loser here is the government of the day.
Hold it there.
Continues.
Hold it there.
Yeah.
Alulu is not happy about that.
I'm not. There is something he said I wanted to really interject. The judiciary, the court says, conduct more public participation in this. The government says we agree there was a problem and we are willing to fix it. The parliament schedules public participation. The same court again says, no, you can't conduct the public participation. If that is not sabotage, what do you call that? So to me, I would want us to agree that there is a problem somewhere. And the government has not said the judiciary is bad. Let's make it clear. And let's not narrow it down to housing. There is a lot of things that the government wants to do, and there are a lot of things that the judiciary has spoken on. But on this one, let's agree, the judiciary is good, but it is not as clean as a wool. It's not as clean as cotton wool. We should agree that there is a problem in the judiciary, and that problem is what is being fixed, and we have to fix it. Sooner or later, we have to fix it. Whichever way, we have to fix it.
Are there laid down procedures for fixing problems in the judiciary?
For you to know that a thief is breaking a door, somebody must scream. And that scream is what is happening in the public life. We scream and then we approach it.
Somebody who has the whole machineries of solving problems. In the Judicial Service Commission, they are representatives of the executive. Why are they representatives of the president of the executive in the Judicial Service Commission? Okay. That was the vast area to focus on. You should be telling us we tried this and failed. Okay. We tried all available mechanisms and failed.
I ask a question. Gabriel, what is the end game?
Let's accept the fact that government wants to weaken the judiciary in order to do their own thing.
But will it?
Simple and clear.
Will it?
It will not. The son of Ateker is there. Okay, Umtata. He will deal with them.
And again, I'm trying to understand that, because at the end of the day, the government will have to file a petition. The DP will file a petition on Thursday at 2:15 p.m., the way he said. But I'm trying to look at the procedure, the process of listening to these cases. Justice Chitembo's case took pretty long time. Okay. So my question is, what is the end game?
I want to answer that question.
Go ahead.
The end game, when all is said and done, there must be some sort of consensus. And this consensus will come by, one, judiciary admitting, yes, we know there is a problem, and yeah, you have presented your evidence. Now let's follow the laid down procedures by doing what is necessary. You have mentioned David Alulu has an issue. Let's have David Alulu investigated, because gone are days when we would say so and so is bad, remove them, and they are removed. So the end game is that we shall have a consensus, but I agree with everybody that is shouting in the public rallies, because everybody must know there is a problem. And if you don't speak about it, nobody will know. We are in a country, where if you do things in silence, people will come and say, no, these ones are attacking me because of this and that. Then let's speak out loud so that everybody shall know this is going on and we have to fix it.
Even those who are not supposed to politic are now politicking, like Alice Waume.
We had Eugene Wamala of politicking during the last era. So them politicking is not a problem.
Without mentioning names, why then do we have procedures of solving problems? This is like washing dirty linen in public. It is like telling the whole world that our judiciary is corrupt. It's like telling the whole world, don't trust our judiciary.
Why is it that anytime we make noise when it's convenient to us? Judiciary has always been that soft punching bag anytime there's a problem. And I really want to get it from you, Gabrielle. Why do you think that judiciary is always the soft punching bag? Whenever there's a problem, judiciary. But you'll never hear the judiciary attack parliament or the other arm of government.
But they did last time.
Because they want to weaken the judiciary.
Not in this way the political class is doing. Gabrielle, go ahead.
Because they want to weaken the judiciary to dance to their game. Well, it's only the judiciary which is not weakened right now by KK government. But they want to succeed it by weakening and removing some tough judges there. So the end game will be, we will have a judiciary that is just accepting anything the government is paying without any fairness and any following.
Answering it in another way, sir.
That is not true.
Judiciary, I'm answering what you have asked. Politicians or the executive, you'll see it in the political rallies. But you'll not see a judge of a Supreme Court, of a High Court, or any judge in political rallies. It is like taking a case of tortoise to be adjudicated on top of trees. They will not climb trees. So at the end of the day, or taking a case of fish and to be administered inside the lake, the fish will take the day because they are good in water. So when you take the war of judiciary in political rallies, judges will not go to political rallies. Have you seen Madakome or Maraga or anybody going to political rallies and make this kind of noise? So you are taking the case of judiciary to area and familiar territories, territories where they are not even supposed to go. Because if you see a judge in taking a mic in political rallies and defending himself, that we would all go against him. You are not supposed to do this. Madakomi, you are not supposed to do this in political rallies. But now that is the same place where you are accusing her. What do you expect her to do?
Yes.
As you not debate herself there. The laid down procedure where the judges can come, the executive can come, any arbitrators can come, is maybe from the Judicial Service Commission.
Allow me to play devil's advocate.
Yes.
So what if government loses?
What if government?
Alulu. So what will happen?
You know, in every match, I am an Arsenal fan, and one of the things I've learned is even though victory is sweet, but when you lose, concede, accept, and move on. So if the government loses, knowing President Ruto, he will concede and move on. And the chapter continues, we open the next chapter. So there is no, like, we are going to keep fighting forever. For at the end of it all, there must be consensus. And once that has been done...
Then why don't you have that consensus right now?
That is what
before a case goes before a judge, and if anything goes the other way around,
you know, systematically,
why don't you have that consensus
systematically,
right now?
What is supposed to happen there is supposed to be a mutual way of communicating between the judiciary and the executive and even the legislature. But now, I think for some reason, you know, Kenya is a political state. And for some reason, we have to play politics. And by politics is speaking. You are not a politician who just go to sleep and wake up and say things have happened.
Okay.
So what is happening right now is a political process.
Okay.
After political process has been done, we shall go ahead and have a consensus.
Okay. Gabriel, what if government loses? I'm just trying to imagine. All right. Go ahead.
And I wish they lose so that we can see how this Kenya will turn to. Because the country is turning into dictatorship kind of leadership. You cannot silence everywhere in order to achieve your own goals. When the government if the government loses, it will be the best thing in this country. Yes, and I will celebrate it.
It also depends on what you mean by losing. Because the government can succeed in removing Judge ABCD from office. That is not winning. What are the impacts, the implications of that? And that's why I said from the beginning that the government might be the loser in this. I didn't say that the government will not, the judge will not be able to go out of office, but look at the bigger picture of all this. Removing a judge from office does not mean the government has won. The damage that this politicking against the judiciary will have caused to the nation, that is the loss I'm looking at for the nation, for the executive, for the common mwananchi, and for everybody in the republic, from the international community, from even internally, the businesses which may go astray, the confidence, loss of confidence that you have with our people. That means government losing, because government is supposed to ensure that environment is good.
I got to leave. Do you have hope for this country? 1 second. Do you have hope?
A lot of hope. A lot of hope.
Very good. Do you have hope, Gabriella? At the end of the day?
So good, no.
We don't have hope?
No. We are focusing on the wrong things instead of focusing on what affects the people directly.
All right.
Yeah.
David, do you have hope?
A huge hope, 100%.
All right.
I believe we are headed the right direction, and Kenya is turning out to be one of the best in sub-Saharan Africa.
Thank you so much.
Yes.
Guys, asanteni sana. Short and sweet. Tumemaliza hii maneno. Okay, David Alulu, who is a political and economic expert, thank you so much for joining us. Gabriella Lorere, who is a youth leader, UPIA party. Some of my colleagues cannot say Lorere. Lorere. It's Lorere. Gabriella, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
And Mwathi Ireri, who is also governance expert and a political analyst. Asanteni sana for joining us on the show. And you, as our viewer, you know how we do it. Thank you for being a part of the show. Good morning. Let's take a break. But Good Morning Kenya continues after this. Stay with us.